Athletes and parents, my name is Danny Guzman. I am athletic director at Santa Paula High School, and I am here with KDTV to just provide a brief update as it pertains to athletics. And understanding athletics are a big part of our community. I want to just make sure we're communicating what's been happening the last couple of weeks since we're gradually moving into a practice phase. So a lot of exciting things happening considering the times. So we're excited to provide you with some information. So thank you, Mr. Bob Allen and KDTV for having me here and providing this platform for communications with our community. I will now share my screen to go over a brief PowerPoint with you guys. Okay, so where we're at Santa Paula High School athletics, the last couple of weeks, we've moved into a phase one practice capacity, which we started on Monday, September 28th. Essentially, what that means is that we're bringing back 5 athletic programs in a voluntary optional capacity only during phase one. By that, we mean that students are not mandated to attend, nor are our coaches, again, considering the COVID pandemic that we're all experiencing. So we got to move about things very carefully and in a safe manner to ensure, number one, student safety and the coach's safety. So during phase one, all practices will be voluntary and optional. They will be conducted outdoors only, meaning we will not have access to indoor facilities or gymnasiums or pools during this phase. Any student athlete out on that field or any coach out there will be required to fill out a liability waiver. In addition to our coaches required to do a district level training and site level training to allow them to be out there. All student athletes will need a sports physical as they do every single year, and they must go through the athletic clearance as they do every single year. However, this year, they will also be required to complete COVID screening or liability waivers for each and every athlete that's going to participate or engage during phase one. So again, they will need a sports physical and an athletic clearance, which is the normal, but now we're adding on a COVID liability form that is a mandate or required for anybody wishing to voluntarily participate in these workouts during phase one. All athletes and coaches upon arrival are also required to go through a COVID screening that is inclusive of a temperature and symptoms check daily before accessing facilities. Again, we will only be having fall sports at this time during phase one, which consists of football, volleyball, water polo, cross country, and cheerleading. Those are the only 5 sports permitted to practice at this time in preparation for their winter season, which we'll discuss briefly. Also during phase one, being that all of our student athletes and our coaches are subject to a COVID screening with temperature checks, all practices during this phase will be closed to the community. That includes parents or any spectators coming out. So community, if you're out there listening, during this phase, no one's permitted on premises, again, being that we have to screen everybody. And it's our objective to get our athletes to the practice fields to get them going. And so therefore, we close the facilities and the grounds during this time. So we ask you guys, please stay away during these times, and we thank you for your cooperation in that matter. Other guidelines for during phase one that all of our athletes are going, again, we started on the 28th of September. That Monday, we rolled out 2 programs. That Tuesday, we rolled out 2 more programs. And the 5th program was on Wednesday that we were supposed to roll out was volleyball. Obviously, last week, we had 3 days in which it was excessive heat above 95 degrees with a high humidity level. So we were forced to cancel the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practices. So our practices did resume this Monday. And again, it's all inclusive of the temperature checks and screening that all of our coaches must adhere to, and athletes. During phase one, again, there's been no locker room access, as previously indicated. All indoor facilities are closed, including the gyms. That also means that our student athletes do not have access to the locker rooms or the team rooms. All workouts must be conducted in small, consistent pods of no more than 10 athletes per coach. Coaches and players must wear a mask covering at all times unless conducting an actual physical activity in which the coaches instruct the student athletes to remove during any cardio or aerobic activities. But immediately thereafter, they must put their masks back on. And again, coaches will be coordinating that component. And most importantly, maintaining 6-foot social distancing at all times, not just for student athletes, but also our coaches while on our premises. During phase one, it's also expected that there's no shared athletic equipment, which means that student athletes are not permitted to share any towels or clothing or shoes. In fact, students are to report dressed and prepared for athletic practices. Students must come dressed for participation, and also no equipment or sports balls are permitted to be used during this phase. So as you can see, phase one practices are they're somewhat dry, but yet it allows us the ability to, number one, organize, communicate, and prepare for the season. And most importantly, get some conditioning in for some of our athletes, again, who have, we've been inactive since March 13th of this year. So it's been some time. Again, we don't anticipate staying in a phase one capacity too long. We're looking at as early as 2 weeks, which with 1 week, 1.5 weeks already completed, but no more than 3, so we are able to move into a phase 2. So we're anticipating that to happen mid to late next week if all goes well, as it has been thus far. So again, phase 1, 2 weeks minimum, no more than 3 if all goes well, and then we move on to a phase 2 and eventually into a phase 3, which gives us more opportunities, less restrictions, and allows us to access facilities and or equipment. So again, the practices are a little dry right now, and that's it's mostly focused on agility and conditioning and some stretching for our athletes and preparation for a phase 2. And hopefully we're able to get into a phase 3, which would consist of eventually athletic tryouts going into the season. So in a nutshell, everybody out there listening, that's what our phase 1 practices and guidelines look like at this moment. Again, we started this on September 28th. We're looking to do this 2 to 3 weeks. Assuming that everything goes well, we'll gradually move into a phase 2 and so forth. So phase 3, again, phase 2 and 3 to be continued. And again, we'll conduct all tryouts for fall sports will be conducted phase 3 or beyond as we near the athletic seasons, the official seasons. So that's what practices look like right now. What do the seasons look like? As you guys know, as you've heard, CIF, what they essentially did was consolidate 3 seasons, which is the fall, the winter, and the spring. They consolidated those 3 seasons into 2 seasons. So now we will have the winter season and we will have the spring season. So the new winter season consists of our traditional fall sports, which Santa Paula has 11-man football, boys and girls cross country, girls water polo, cheer, and girls volleyball. They will now be our winter season. They will start competitions mid-December and beyond. So we'll have 5 sports going on during that time. And then our spring sports were pushed back, or our winter and spring sports were pushed back for a March start time, which means come March of 2021, we will have 16 programs in competition at the same time, which is a lot of action happening. So this is what the seasons will look like. As you can see in the spring, baseball, boys and girls basketball, cheerleading, boys and girls golf, boys and girls soccer, softball, boys and girls swimming, girls tennis, boys and girls track, and boys and girls wrestling will all be participating at the same time, which is going to be a super packed spring season that's going to bring with it a set of problems in terms of transportation and game officials and a lot of things that we're kind of trying to hoping to avoid. So again, we're proud to be moving forward. We're proud that athletics are looking positive going into the future. Unlike last year, spring sports, there were no options. Spring season just came to an end, and we had no choice but to close up shop. These next couple of seasons, our student athletes, I'm happy to say that there will be some options for them. That includes playing multiple sports in the spring, and it is our hope to provide them with the experience that they want and that we want to give them and they deserve for those that are athletes, especially for our seniors. So we're excited that sports are coming back. Again, we took a big step on September 28th with the first step, and we're looking to take that second and third step as we get closer to the season. So we're very excited about that. Start dates, again, these are practice start dates. We started last week for our programs and spring season practices. Again, those practices will start at a later date that is still to be determined. And again, that'll all be dictated on how our phases are going that we're implementing at the moment. Obviously, if something goes wrong and our numbers rise and COVID's strong enough within our community, then there will be a stop or a pause in that, or a slowdown in how we're advancing. So it's important that all student athletes and coaches follow all guidelines and ensuring student safety and ensuring that we're doing everything that we're supposed to keep everybody safe. So moving on, athletic eligibility, again, briefly discussed. If you ever have any questions or need information, you can always visit the athletic website at www.sphsathletics.org. All information is posted on there, essentially for athletic eligibility, so that a student is able to participate in a practice. Essentially, they need a sports physical, which has been the norm every single year. They've always needed a sports physical. They can go to any doctor they choose to, or Identity Medical Group on the corner of 5th and Santa Barbara Street is also taking appointments for, I believe it's a $15 fee that gets donated back to the athletics. That is also an option, but they can go to any doctor they wish. The second thing that they need to do is provide a proof of completion page. Essentially, when they go to the home campus, the athletic clearance website, upon completion, make a copy of that page. It's signed by parent and student. Again, that's nothing new. Those two forms have always been the norm. And then the third one is mandatory COVID liability forms. They've been emailed to all students at Santa Paula High School, and they are also uploaded on the athletic website. And it essentially requires student and parent signatures, giving consent and giving permission for them to engage in practices at this time. So those are the three forms. Again, all this information can be found on the athletic website. Please feel free to visit. And last but not least, academic eligibility. There's also some information on the athletic website discussing academic eligibility. Quarter grades come out October 16th. Students are expected to have at least a 2.0 GPA so that they are cleared and eligible to participate in December competitions. Our next grading period won't be till the end of the semester, in which grades come out mid-January. So students must maintain at least 2.0 GPA. They must be passing a minimum of 20 credits, which equates 4 classes for that grading period. And only report card grades will determine eligibility, which includes first quarter, first semester, third quarter, and second semester. Those are the grades that we use to determine eligibility. And again, the first quarter ends October 16th, which is right around the corner. And that'll dictate who's going to be cleared to try out come the winter season. So again, for more information, you can always visit the athletic website at www.sphsathletics.org. And or you can also contact the athletic office, and we'd be happy to assist you guys. So in a nutshell, that's the latest with athletics at Santa Paula High School. We're excited again to be moving forward in this capacity. Although it is slow, it's still good to see our student athletes back out and hopefully getting in shape. We have a little under 3 months to prepare, so we anticipate that we will be fine, and looking forward to another successful season as we always have. So thank you, Santa Paula, for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And again, we're here to help and support you guys in any way that you may need. Don't hesitate to reach out and look forward to seeing everybody. Thank you, and have a good one. Take care.